Hi, welcome to today's video. My name is Paul. So this week I did a little bit of acrylic painting. I forgot to record it, but I did also do a bit of pastel painting, and I did remember to record this one. The final painting, you'll see it at the end of the video. I would say I'm, 80% happy with it. It's not perfect. Very few of the paintings are. I don't want to pretend on this channel, as I've said before, that everything is perfect and there's no struggles or no failures. There are, because I'm trying to learn to draw and paint myself. And that process does, at least in my case anyway, it involves some failures and some setbacks, as well as advances and learning new stuff. It's just all part of the learning process. Like I say, I was happy to be able to do the painting. I enjoyed the process, and I learned a couple of things about pastel painting, or I reminded myself a couple of things. One of the things that I sometimes overdo with pastel painting is, there's two types of paper, I guess, really, for pastel painting. There's coated paper that has some kind of special coating that allows you to build up multiple layers of pastel dust on the paper. It grabs onto the pastel dust and you can build up layers. The second type of paper is like this one. It's just a grey toned paper, and you can get it in different colors. It's not coated in any way. It has a slightly soft surface, so it grabs onto some of the pastel dust, but you can fill up the grain of the paper really quickly, and that's the problem that I have. I tend to fill up the grain of the paper too quickly, and then I can't build up the layers. It's kind of what happened with this one. It's kind of what happens quite often for me. So I have to keep reminding myself to go easy with put less pressure on the pastels when I'm creating these sort of paintings or sketches. So while we're watching me doing this, I just wanted to quickly talk a little bit about the art world and how I see the art world and how I think it's developing. And I think it's developing for the better. I say that because in the past, I'm not sure it was a great place to be. My image of the sort of past art world was, imagine a landscape, and in the middle of the landscape is a sort of fantastic city with tall buildings and towers and turrets and banners flying from the top of the buildings and things. But this fantastic city is surrounded by a high, thick stone wall. And that wall is surrounded by a deep, dark moat with all kinds of nasty things swimming around in the water in the moat. Snakes and alligators and piranha fish and who knows what all. And the only way that you can get into the city is across a narrow bridge and through a narrow gateway. And that narrow gateway is controlled by the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers are the art dealers, the critics, the museums, even, for example, professors and teachers within art schools, the people who decide which of their students will pass and which of their students will fail. So these are the gatekeepers. An example of a gatekeeper would be the French art dealer from the 19th, early 20th century, Ambrose Voller. I'm going to mispronounce a lot of names in this video. Apologies for that. But Mr. Voller was an art dealer, and he was very good at business. And what that means is he was very good at discovering new talent, buying artwork from those artists quite cheaply, and then building up the artists and selling on the paintings to collectors for a significant increase in profit. And some of the artists that he discovered, and remember at the time that he discovered them, they were completely obscure, completely unknown artists. They included people like Picasso, Matisse, Van Gogh, Cézanne. These are the sort of names that are some of them anyway, are household names. Even people who know nothing about art have probably heard of like Van Gogh and Picasso. So these gatekeepers were incredibly powerful, and they really could decide which artist was going to make it into the wonderful city and make lots of money and become famous, and which would be told to, well, basically clear off and go away. I think in the past, this sort of art world, and maybe I'm simplifying a little bit, but maybe I'm not. I think there was also quite a bit of discrimination within this art world. I'll give you an example. If you look at recent top-selling paintings, so by recent I mean within the last 20 years, let's say. So these are living artists. We're not talking about Van Gogh and Picasso and Rembrandt, and we're talking about artists who are alive at the moment and have sold paintings for huge sums of money. The top sort of 10 paintings that fit into that category are painted by about 5 artists. And those artists are Jasper Johns, Damien Hirst, Jeff Koons, David Hockney, and Sacha Jaffrey. And between them they sell paintings for huge amounts of money. But you may notice from that list of names some things. First of all, they're all men. There's not a single woman on that list. 4 of the 5 men are white. Most of them are middle-aged or older. Most of them went to art school, college of some kind. In other words, there's a lot of criteria have to be met in order to get onto this list, in order to get into that shiny city. I think technology is slowly changing that. So because a lot of us now have access to the internet and things, you can build an art career and you never, and I'd say that again, never have to go to a gallery. You never have to have an exhibition in a gallery. You never have to be represented by a gallery. You don't have to go through the whole museum and curator art scene anymore. You can build an entirely independent career as an artist. It's incredibly difficult. It takes a long time, but it's not impossible. And that's sort of the message that I wanted to give to anybody who's maybe thinking about going full-time or part-time as an artist. There are alternatives to the old-fashioned gallery route. You can still go down that way if you want, but there is other alternatives now. Okay, well, that was basically the message that I wanted to give. I hope there was a bit of negativity in there, but I hope the final message is positive, that in the future I think there will be less discrimination in the art world, and I think more people from a more diverse range of people will have a chance to succeed as artists. Okay, this is scan of the final painting. As I say, 80% happy with it. It's not perfect, but very green, which is interesting, and I quite like a lot of green in there. I like green. It's kind of relaxing. So I say I just have to remember with the soft pastels not to fill up the grain of the paper too quickly with the pastel dust. Okay, if you made it this far and managed to get through all my ramblings, thank you for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.